Some people work 50 hours a week and still feel like one unexpected bill could collapse their entire life. They start investing for safety, but eventually the portfolio begins to feel like a second unpaid job. Every morning starts with checking the market, and every night ends with checking it again before sleep. A small drawdown ruins the mood, yet even a green portfolio never fully creates peace. Most people are not chasing extreme wealth because they simply want life to stop feeling permanently urgent. They want enough breathing room to make choices when life suddenly becomes too heavy to carry. Modern investing culture often sells long-term compounding with constant pressure and endless urgency. Without noticing it, many people slowly begin measuring self-worth through numbers on a glowing screen. The margin talks about money as a tool for understanding why modern life feels emotionally and financially exhausting. Because investing is rarely about becoming rich and is usually about escaping survival mode one slow step at a time. Many people think investing is mainly about luxury, when for most workers it is actually about creating a little more peace of mind. Modern life feels fragile because layoffs, rising costs, and shrinking savings can quietly change everything overnight. Eventually, people enter a permanent survival mode where every paycheck only exists to protect next month. When someone stays in survival mode too long, even small financial decisions start feeling risky and emotionally heavy. People begin fearing job loss, medical bills, and unexpected expenses long before those problems even happen. Even after salaries increase, many workers still feel financially insecure because anxiety does not disappear as fast as income grows. The deeper problem is a system where people rarely feel stable enough to think beyond immediate survival. For many people, investing becomes less about wealth and more about creating distance from constant anxiety and volatility. A small dividend or emergency fund can create something surprisingly valuable, which is simply room to breathe. Financial freedom is not really about never working again, but about avoiding panic every time life changes unexpectedly. That is why many exhausted workers quietly start learning long-term investing after years of feeling financially cornered. Most people are not secretly chasing Ferraris because they are simply trying to build a future that feels less fragile. The internet often makes investing look like a luxury lifestyle, when most people are really just trying to reduce financial stress over the long term. Many workers are not chasing yachts or status because they simply want to stop counting the days until the next paycheck arrives. Living without financial margin creates invisible psychological pressure, because even a small emergency can trigger instability. Human brains are not designed for permanent economic anxiety, so constant uncertainty slowly pushes people into defensive survival thinking. That is why many people look technically fine on paper, while emotionally they still never feel financially safe. Healthy investing should reduce emotional volatility over a long time horizon instead of creating daily panic around market movements. Modern finance culture often rewards obsession by making every portfolio and time horizon feel like an endless competition. Social media turns net worth and profit into public identity, which quietly increases emotional pressure and comparison. Over time, investing can slowly transform from a tool for freedom into another source of emotional drawdown and anxiety. Good investing should create more breathing room in life instead of making every market fluctuation feel personally threatening. The real goal is not infinite wealth because most people simply want a future that feels less dominated by fear. There is a major difference between building sustainable wealth through compounding and trying to heal insecurity with money alone. During the pandemic, one office worker started investing because a normal emergency fund no longer felt enough for an unstable world. Over time, his routine quietly turned into a cycle of checking prices before work and portfolios before sleep. When the market dropped, he could not focus on work, and when it rallied, he felt anxious about missing more upside. This pattern is more common than people admit because modern investing is often designed like a dopamine system. Apps compete for attention with endless alerts that make every small market movement feel urgent and personal. Many people are no longer financially insecure on paper, but mentally they never stop feeling exposed to risk. Historically, long-term investing rewarded patience more often than emotional reactions to hourly volatility. The calmest investors are often not the smartest people in the room because they refuse to let volatility control their lives. That balance becomes difficult in a system that constantly monetizes fear and uncertainty for engagement. The more uncertain people feel about the future, the easier instant financial hope becomes to sell. Eventually, many people forget they started investing to reduce stress rather than create a second full-time job. Sometimes the real drawdown is not the market itself, but a mind that never fully gets to rest. Some people increase their income for years but still feel financially unsafe every time they check their bank account. When someone grows up around financial instability, the brain often keeps expecting another drawdown even after life improves. That is why some people struggle to enjoy compounding progress because they never feel safe enough to slow down. For many investors, buying more assets becomes less about long-term planning and more about emotional protection. But not every financial fear can be solved with a bigger portfolio or a longer time horizon. Modern life constantly reminds people that someone else is earning faster, investing earlier, and retiring younger. Comparison culture quietly pushes investors into volatility chasing because enough never feels like enough anymore. Years ago, people only wanted stability, but now many feel behind if they are not financially free before 35. Eventually, investing stops feeling like a financial tool and starts feeling like a competition for identity and status. Most people are not chasing luxury because they simply want stable routines, healthy minds, and room to breathe. Sometimes the best investment strategy is the one that reduces mental drawdown instead of maximizing returns. Money works best when it helps people live with less fear instead of trapping them inside permanent survival mode. Financial freedom is often imagined as the end of every problem, but in reality it usually feels quieter and much simpler. Sometimes freedom simply means being able to leave a toxic job or rest for a moment without financial panic. It can also mean having time with family without constantly calculating bills in the back of your mind. Modern life keeps making time feel scarce, and many people slowly realize money mostly buys life choices. Real financial stability creates the option to stop saying yes to everything out of fear of running out of money. Over time, investing starts feeling less about building assets and more about reducing the feeling of being trapped. For many people today, wealth is not about private jets, but simply being able to breathe more easily. The problem is that modern culture constantly pushes people to chase more, faster, and bigger outcomes. As a result, many people lose the ability to appreciate small progress, even though small progress is often more sustainable long-term. A little savings can reduce a surprising amount of anxiety, and long-term investing can slowly create emotional breathing room. People do not always need luxury to feel calm because sometimes they only want life to stop feeling fragile. Maybe that is the real reason so many people are learning about investing now, because they are trying to escape a fear that never fully goes away. There is a huge difference between investing with awareness and investing because you are terrified of falling behind. Calm investors usually expect progress to take years instead of hoping volatility will change their life overnight. Wealth often compounds slowly, but emotional stability usually takes even longer to rebuild after years of stress. Financial stability is not only about income growth, but also about how much uncertainty your mind can tolerate. People who spend years in survival mode often carry invisible financial anxiety long after their portfolio improves. Healthy investing should create psychological breathing room instead of turning every free moment into market surveillance. Sometimes the best financial strategy is simply the one your mental health can sustain for decades. Not everyone is built to think about volatility and drawdowns every hour of every day. Some people are not chasing luxury at all because stability and enoughness already feel valuable. The internet often mocks ordinary lives even though peace and routine have become modern luxuries. Modern culture constantly reminds people that they are behind on money, speed, status, and success. Maybe the most realistic version of financial freedom is reaching a point where money stops occupying your mind every single day. In the end, investing is rarely just about annual returns because most people are really searching for a safer life with less financial volatility. People often invest because they hope compounding can eventually buy a little peace of mind in an unpredictable economy. Money becomes emotional when it starts feeling connected to survival, control, and the fear of falling behind. Many adults quietly carry fears about not having enough, losing stability, or watching life become one long financial drawdown. As people get older, some begin realizing that not every problem can be solved by chasing a higher income forever. Sometimes the real solution is building a slower and emotionally simpler life with a longer time horizon. Healthy investing should support a calmer life instead of turning every market fluctuation into daily stress. The goal is not becoming an endless productivity machine, but creating a life that still feels human. That may explain why so many workers feel exhausted by modern hustle culture even after salary increases. Most people are not chasing luxury anymore because they simply want enough room to rest and think clearly again. Investing should help create more freedom in daily life instead of consuming all your attention and emotional energy. If building wealth only creates more anxiety and emotional volatility, then our relationship with money may need rethinking. Maybe the best investment is not the one with the highest return, but the one that makes daily life feel slightly less heavy over a long-term time horizon. Most people are not secretly trying to become billionaires, they are just trying to escape constant financial volatility and stress. Wanting stability, manageable risk, and enough breathing room is often more realistic than chasing extreme wealth accumulation. Not everyone needs an extreme lifestyle because a calm and sustainable life can also be a form of success. In a world obsessed with comparison and compounding status signals, peace of mind quietly becomes more expensive every year. Money feels emotional today because many people are really trying to buy a sense of safety from future drawdowns and uncertainty. If you feel financially exhausted sometimes, you are probably experiencing the same pressure that millions of people quietly carry every day. The Margin will keep exploring the emotional side of money, work, risk, and modern life with calm and honest storytelling. If this video felt relatable, you can subscribe because modern life is probably heavier than most people openly admit. So now, I'm curious whether investing has made your life feel calmer over the long term or simply added more anxiety and volatility.